Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel Trading Secrets. This channel is for entertainment purposes only. For those of you who do not know, my name is Ali. I have over 20 years experience teaching accounting, economics, business and law. Through this channel I'll be providing some stock analysis and a quick update on the $1 Million Challenge. So if anybody's not aware of this is a journey of investment of $1,000 to a return of $1 million over a period of 3 years using a strategy called compound return investing. So the objective is try to get 201 trades, each with an average return of 3.5%. It's not 201 consecutive trades, we do take into account losses. So for further details about how to join us for less than $9 a month, information is available in the description below. So I'm currently on vacation, so you will have to excuse some of the background noises, but in today's video I'm going to be looking at a response from Ralph Norman to FINRA's reply to Congress, which I also covered in the previous video, so go ahead and check the previous video out. And we're also going to be looking at today at Meta's earnings, which were a record, so stay tuned for that. Before we get started, let's have a look at what's happening in the market. So first headline here from Wall Street Journal, we can see that the stock market set fresh records after strong hiring data. So we're going to look at the data shortly, but Meta shares did surge and Chevron, Exxon also posted strong earnings, and we have also seen excellent momentum in stocks such as Microsoft and Nvidia. But if we have a look at a quick summary of the US jobs report, we can see here the economy added approximately 353,000 jobs, so this is beyond the expectations of approximately 187,000, and that is the most since January 2023. So this is great news. The unemployment rate in the US has held at 3.7%, and that is the lowest compared to the expectations of 3.8%. So certainly good news going forward. We also have wage growth that is accelerated, second straight month rising at 4.5%. So overall the jobs market is looking good, and continuing with the theme of short selling, shout out here to Meta News, who stated Congress is now investigating naked short selling with potential hearing with the SEC. So this is a quotation from Ralph Norman, who stated this is a huge problem all across the board. Short sales and naked sales, let's make them, i.e. the investors, aware what could happen to their investments. So we do need more transparency. We are seeing it in other places such as South Korea and Thailand, so hopefully the US as well. So let's start by having a look at the earnings for Meta. So if we focus on the 2022 and 2023 12-month period, we can see that Meta have smashed the revenue figures. So previously 2022 it was just in excess of $113 billion, and right now they're looking at very close to $132 billion. That's just for advertising revenue. So have a look at total revenue including all the other sources. It's gone from $116 billion to $134 billion. So excellent news there for Meta. So let's have a look at how that has impacted the share price. If we have a look at the share price at time of editing on Friday, at one point it was up close to 21% and looking in great momentum. So we can see also there in the chart there was a great buying opportunity when it was trending down, but right now Meta is doing exceptionally well. So since that dip, it is also up approximately 400%. So congratulations to everybody who got into Meta. So another record that they've broken is they've become the biggest single daily market gain, beating the previous record of Apple set in November the 10th, 2022, and Meta added $205 billion in terms of their market cap. So great news there for Meta. And another news update from Meta, shout out here to Stock Market News, who stated they have also now declared a quarterly dividend for the first time in their history. So Mark Zuckerberg will be receiving shortly approximately $700 million from the first year just in dividends from Meta shares. Let's now get an insight from Ralph Norman from his interview with Dennis Neal on the podcast What's Bugging Me. So go ahead and check that out, and an excellent interview there. So if you want to get the full interview, go ahead and check that out. So first of all, what Dennis has posted is the Representative Ralph Norman just told me on What's Bugging Me on that FINRA's response on MMTLP is inadequate. So we're going to be breaking down the response shortly, and he's also stated the SEC failed to respond at all. So that is quite concerning, and I believe Gary Gensler has also gone missing from X for quite a significant amount of time. We're going to be looking at that as well. So he will now ask Rep Comer to subpoena the SEC for a share audit data FINRA says it can supply and push for public hearing. So I'm not sure if those specific words were used, but we are going to be looking into that, and I think it could be that that was implied quite strongly. And what Mike has stated, reading this has made me tear up. This has been one heck of a ride, and I think all investors would agree with that. So Special thanks to my friend Buddy, who's broken down some of the transcripts of some of the conversations with Dennis and Ralph. So we're going to look at one of the questions that he posted here. Do they want to know? They want to know how will Congress now subpoena the records from the SEC and demand SEC and FINRA and demand to see what the agencies seem to be withholding. So this is the question and the topic that was posted by Dennis. So we're going to look at the specific response from Ralph, and he stated it has to come from the chairman of the committee, either Patrick Henry or James Comer. So James Comer is the head of the oversight of the chairman. He's the chairman of the oversight. He signed the letter, so that is tremendous news. And if he did sign the letter, it means he is on board. You would also think that Patrick McHenry would do the same. So my personal opinion, I think Patrick would need a little bit more pushing, and I hope he does listen to the concerns of the investors, and I would like him to speak out on this. I don't believe he has done so yet. And what Ralph also stated is incomprehensible that they are not answering in a timely manner. So we're talking about FINRA and the SEC. SEC have not actually answered at all. FINRA answered on the last possible day they could. So what is FINRA's objective? They won't even answer yet. So these are the words of Ralph. It was a blue sheet issue of questions, and they would that would root out any type of irregularity, and they won't answer anything. They mainly look to justify their existence, and they referred it back to the SEC. So I believe they also referred a lot of the issues back to the brokers. So it's a case of throwing anyone and everyone they can under a bus, including the investors. So the answer is yes, we're going to get provided, and I can get either James Comer or Patrick McHenry, which I think we can. So that's the implication, that we are moving towards a subpoena. I believe it wasn't mentioned specifically, but it's sounding quite positive. That's his job. We're talking about the dishonorable Gary Gensler, and that's what he gets paid for. So let's have a look at the other questions shared and the transcript shared by Buddy. To me, and this is in response to the question, do you believe Congress should hold public hearings on MMTLP and the regulatory action? Should they actually go for public hearings on this specific thing? So the response from Ralph, absolutely, we're going to lead the way. So obviously this story is not over. The battle is continuing. So great news here from Ralph. He is going to continue the fight. So because in the Financial Services Committee, that is our job. Yes, it is the job, and the job is mainly to protect the investors and also to make people aware of the fraud. The money they've invested, they may not get back. So we certainly need a resolution, and we need it fast. And he also states here that they have 70 people have signed, congressmen signed on, and to not get answers, this has to be shouted from the rooftop. So I don't believe this is rocket science. So why are the SEC still not responding? Because there must be a reason. So what Ralph also stated, that needs to be exposed, and he also goes on to say there are more serious questions. If the SEC is not going to answer right now, they have not answered to Congress, and who is obviously paying the checks and provide who are the SEC supposedly reporting to? It should be Congress, and FINRA are not going to take responsibility, so who does? We have no other place to go, so the public hearings will expose what is going on. People will take an interest because it involves hard-earning money, not only hard-earning American taxpayers' money, but international investors like myself. And if we cannot even get a share count, what does that tell you? So in my previous video, one of the things I covered, go ahead and check that out. One of FINRA's feeble responses is we do not have the authority to get the share count. That was a joke. So an important correction that is required from the podcast was with regard to the 8 people charged with fraud. So shout out here to Marduk, and who's tagged in Dennis and stated the Honourable Ralph Norman unfortunately and unintentionally misspoke on the podcast today. He said the 8 executives of Torchlight were charged with fraud. That is untrue, so I do concur with that. He was actually referring to the Atlas Trading Group that have got absolutely nothing to do with TRCH and got absolutely nothing to do with MMTLP. So a very, very important correction there. And Dennis Neal has tagged in and say, yes, this is an important correction. It means traders in the stock got charged rather than the execs of the company. So another important point that picked up from FINRA's response from John Berder, he stated FINRA admits that shares can be held by foreign and overseas custodians of which they have no jurisdiction, which means short interest reporting and policing of naked short selling is a sham. Why would the SEC and FINRA allow a US security to be offshored and never settle via the US settlement system? So important question there. This is criminal. Congress needs to act on this, in his opinion. What is good is that FINRA, they cannot track all trades and settle all trades in the US securities, so it is causing chaos in the US market. These are important questions for FINRA, and these need to be addressed because it is having a significant impact on the integrity of the markets. I finally like to finish off on another positive, so shout out here to Don Fierce, who's still in DC speaking to as many congressmen as he can, and he's had tremendous progress so far, and he just posted, today was awesome, 8 meetings, fantastic day. So again, credit to the community, credit to Don there, so for continuing with the work. I think we are making significant progress, so I don't think we have an actual date when we could say, look, this is when we're going to get the resolution, but we're not going to stop until that happens. And finally, if you would like to get details of our weekly watch list, which is going to be shared prior to trading on the Monday, details are in the description below. Thank you very much for watching. Please stay tuned.